Okay, so let me share the screen with you. Mhm. Okay, so can you see the PowerPoint, students? Is it visible to you?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes.
perfect. Okay. Um, all right. Okay. So coming to the subject. So the subject is anatomy and physiology, and the subject code is BMLS 14204. And now we are in the unit 2. So in the unit 2, we have three important topics. One is muscular skeletal system, then respiratory system, and cardiovascular system. So currently we are in the musculoskeletal system. So I will show you the syllabus. So if you see the syllabus in the musculoskeletal system, we have the introduction, classification of muscles, then structure of muscle, and various types of joints and various types of movements of the body. So these are the four topics which are included in the musculoskeletal system. So first we need to know the classification of muscles, then structure of muscle, then we need to know the types of joints and movements that is shown by the joints we need to study. So these are the four topics which is given in the unit 2. So far we finished the classification of muscles, then we finished the structure of muscle. Anyway, I will take again the a revision of structure of muscle, and I will move on to the joints and various types of movements of body. So before discussing about movements, first you should know certain anatomical terms. So the terms and the planes that we will use in the anatomy, that you need to know, that I will cover in today's lecture. So in today's lecture, I will try to cover structure of muscle, joints, types of joints in the human body, and movements shown by the joints. I will try to cover in today's lecture. So coming to the point, so first the structure of muscle. So first we break down the structure of muscle into three parts actually. First we discussed about the muscle mass, then we discussed about muscle fiber, then we discussed about myofibrils. In the myofibrils we have that actin and myosin, the ultramicroscopic structure of muscle. So these four you need to know, at least the basics of the structure of muscle. So coming to the muscle mass, so this is the muscle mass. So here we have the muscle is connected to the bone by a tendon, and this tendon is attached to the bone by a specialized structure called aponeurosis. And muscle has many layers actually. So the outer layer of muscle is called as fascia, and the second layer of muscle is called as epimysium. After epimysium, you will see fascicles. That means a group of bundles of fibers containing a pack of fiber containing fascicles are present inside the or beneath the epimysium. And these fascicles are also covered by layers. Okay, so the outer layer of this fascicle is called as perimysium, whereas the inner layer of this fascicle is called as endomysium. Inside this endomysium, you will see muscle fibers. So muscle fiber is made up of myofibrils, and myofibrils contains actin and myosin filaments, which are very essential for contraction of the muscle. So this is the basic structure of the muscle. Okay. Then what are the characteristics of muscle? So if you see the characteristics, muscles are always connected to the bones with tendons. Okay, and the muscles help in the movement of the body. And muscles are of two types. We have voluntary muscles and involuntary muscles. Then there are certain terms in the muscles. Okay, so the plasma membrane, the cell membrane of a muscle, the myocyte cell membrane is called as sarcolemma, and the cytoplasm that is present inside the myocyte or muscle is called as muscle cell. Okay, is called as sarcoplasm. Inside in that sarcoplasm you have sarcoplasmic reticulum and endoplasmic reticulum. Actually it is this reticulum where the actin and myosin filaments will present. Okay, and sarcomeres are extensively covered by mitochondria for the sole purpose of generating energy to the muscle. That's it. So these are the coverings of muscle which we already covered in the previous picture actually. So epimysium, perimysium, and endomysium. Then this is the complete the organizational structure of muscles. Um, this we already finished, right? So muscle is connected to the bone by a tendon, and there is aponeurosis, and the outer layer is called a fascia. Inside the fascia you have the epimysium. In the epimysium you have the fascicles. Fascicles are covered by endomysium and perimysium. Then we have the muscle fibers. In the muscle fiber, it is composed of myofibrils. Okay, so the same story. So this is the electron microscopic structure of muscle tissue. So this you need not to worry. Anyway, the other points we already covered in the classification of muscles, like presence and absence of striations on the muscles, etc., or the characteristics of muscles. The same things they have given here again and again. Okay, so this is all about the muscle structure. Okay, structure of muscle, and this is all about actin and myosin and Z and H filaments. That's it, students. So there are certain proteins in the muscles. So these proteins are very essential for the movement or contraction of the muscles. So are you following me, students, by the way? Are you listening?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, good. So basically, the proteins are broadly divided into three categories, students. The proteins which are present in the muscle. Okay. So one is contractile proteins. These are the proteins that are helpful in the contraction of the muscle. So such proteins are called as contractile proteins. So those contractile proteins you already know that are actin and myosin filaments. So actin and myosin are proteins which are essential for contraction of the muscle. Then second one is regulatory proteins. These proteins will regulate the microenvironment of the muscle, and such proteins are tropomyosin and troponin. So tropomyosin and troponin will regulate the muscular activity. So the muscular activity is regulated by this tropomyosin and troponin. And last and final are attachment proteins. So these attachment proteins, as the name suggests, they will enhance the attachment of all other proteins or associated structures to the muscle. So such proteins include tintin, nebulin, alpha, actinin, and dystrophin. So these four will act as a attachment proteins which are present inside the muscle. Tintin, nebulin, alpha, actinin, and dystrophin are the four attachment proteins that are present in the muscle. So this is the complete classification of proteins that are present inside the muscle. So this is all about the muscle, students. If you have any doubts in structure of muscle, you can ask me. If not, I will proceed to the next topic. Shall I proceed to the next topic, students, which is joints present in human body? So I think I'm getting messages from students. I think some of you are unable to join. Okay. Please rejoin in the, use the same link if you are exiting. Okay. Anyway, so next topic is joints of human bodies. Okay. So there are many types of joints in body, and what is the function of joints? What is their importance, that we will study, and what are the types of joints we have in the body. So first, let us have a basic conversation. So can you guess the types of joints in human body, students? Can you tell me the reason for joints? What is the purpose of joints? What is the function of joints? What is the function of joints?
So connect the bone. It connects the bone.
To connect the bones. So joint. So for one function is to connect the bones. Okay, agreed. Then what is the other function?
Motion and movement.
Very good.
Motion
Helps
and
in motion and movement. Very good. So helps in motion and movement. So joints will help the body to move, and joints help in. You said another one. First one. To connect the bones. Joints will connect the bones. Any other functions for joints? To move, to connect the bones, and any others? Any other functions for joints? Any interesting answers? Okay, so when any two bones are connecting, the joints will also helpful in the growth of the bone. So these joints will leave some space for the bones to grow. So even joints will help for the bone to grow. So it is giving that extra space for the bone to grow. So joints can also helpful in growth of the bones. So that is one point. Another function for joints. Any others? Any other functions for joints? Any interesting functions? Is all joints movable, students? Is all joints movable? Is there any immovable joints in our body?
No, sir.
No. So there are no immovable joints. So all joints are movable. Is that your statement, students? All joints
Yes,
are
yes.
movable. No, that is a wrong thing. So we have two types joints actually. We have movable joints and we have immovable joints. Okay. Movable joints are called as synovial joints. The joints that are movable, they are called as synovial joints, and we do have immovable joints. And the best example for immovable joint is your skull bones. You have many patches of bones in your skull, and all of them are connected together. They are stitched together by joints, and those skull bones are immobile, and such joints can be stated as immovable joints. So they are connected by a specialized structures called sutures. So we do have immovable joints in our body. Okay. And any other interesting joints in our body? Can you give any example, students, other than synovial joints and immovable joints? Any other interesting examples? Sometimes we have
Knee and
a
hinge joint.
what joint?
Knee and hinge joint.
Knee and head joint. Okay. Okay, they will come under a synovial, a specialized ball and socket joints. Fine. By the way,
Okay.
I will raise a question. Tooth. Our teeth is embedded in the bone of the jaw, right? So teeth are literally they are sitting in the holes of the jaw bone. Okay, so they are like keeping a nail to the wall, hitting a nail to the wall. So similarly, our tooth are embedded themselves in the joints, in the embedded in the bone of the jaw. Okay, and such type of joints, actually that is also a joint where a tooth was inserted like a socket into the jawbone, and such type of joints are called as gomphosis. So gomphosis is a specialized joints where we will insert one bone into another bone like a nail in a wood piece. Okay, so such joints are called gomphosis joints. And we yes, so these are the some interesting
Sir,
features of joints. Huh? Pelvis.
pelvic girdle, that is
Yes, pelvic
immovable.
girdle is also a good example. Very good. Pelvic girdle is one example for joints. So pelvic girdle, it has a combination of many joints actually. Pelvic girdle. It has immobile joints. It has synovial joint. It has fibrous joints. Yes, pelvic girdle is very nice example. Okay, so now you got some idea about what are joints. Now, can you give some examples? So I think you have already given. So give me some places where we can move. So we have synovial joints, then we have movement of the jaw, we have movement of limbs, hands and legs. So now let us try to classify the joints. Okay, so shall I move forward, students? Do you got some idea about joints? Shall we go to the topic now? Yeah,
Yes, sir.
actually, yes, I can understand. Actually, you have three non-stop classes, so you are getting, you know, weak, tired at the last class. It's okay. Coming to the joints of human body. So joint means it is a place where two bones will meet. Okay, so it is a joint is a place where any two bones will meet, and such place is called as joint. Or there is a another term in medicine which is called articulation. Articulation means to connect. Joint means it is an articular structure where any two parts will be connected. Any two parts are connected by a joint. Okay, so that connection, there is a word in medical terminology which is called as articulation. Articulation means it is a place where any two things will connect, and such that word is called as articulation. So if any two things are connected in the body, any two joints connected in the body means those connected surfaces are called as articulated surfaces or articulated areas where there will be connections or where there will be joints. This connection not necessarily need to be in between two bones. These connections can also be present in between two cartilaginous substances. Cartilage is also a specialized bone. So these joints can present either in between two cartilage substances or these can be present in between two hard bones. So this is the basic definition of a joint. So a joint is a place where two bones will meet, or joint can also be termed as a articulation point where any two things can be two things are connected. So two rigid components. Okay. So it can be either bones or it can be either cartilage. So this is the basic definition of a joint. Then articulation, as the name suggests, it is connect. From here we have taken the word arthrology. Arthro means joint. Ology means to study. So study of joints is called as arthrology. Arthrology is a branch of anatomy concerned with the joints. So arthrology is the science of studying joints. So orthopedic. So sometimes we will spell this ORTHO, orthopedic. Okay, arthro or orthopedic means he is someone who is studying about bones actually. And the study of joints is called as arthrology. Arthrology. Okay, arthros means to connect. So study of joints is called as arthrology. Is that clear for you, students? Shall I move forward? Study of bones is bones. Yes. Study of joints is called as arthrology. Yeah. Whereas study of bones is called as orthology. Oh, okay. Fine. So same thing. So basically, these joints are broadly classified into two types depending upon their function and depending upon their structure. So functional classification, we have three types, students. We have immobile joints, slightly movable joints, and freely movable joints. Depending upon their function, we have three types. We have immobile joints, we have slightly movable joints, and we have freely movable joints. Now, just to try to give me some examples. Immobile joint, I have already given the joints which are present in the skull. So they are called immobile joints. Then what is this slightly movable joint, students? Can you give me examples of the slightly movable joints? Slightly movable joint example in human body. Do we have such joints? If we have, where do we have slightly movable joint? Do you have any idea?
So ribs.
Ribs. Very good. Okay, ribs is the best example.
Yes, sir.
One student said ribs, slightly movable joint. Any other one?
Limbs. Limbs.
Names?
Limbs.
Lungs.
Limbs. So limbs are totally
Ribs.
movable.
Ribs.
Sir, it's movable. Limbs. It's movable.
Spinal cord. Can
So
spinal cord is second example. Okay, so spinal cord, it has a limited movement. We can bend back or we can bend front, but we can't move freely. So spinal cord will bend, right? That is a slightly movable joint. So spinal cord, the entire vertebral column, can be stated as a slightly movable joints. So vertebral column will have the slightly movable joints in between the vertebral discs or the vertebral column discs. Okay, then freely movable joints, you already know. Your wrist, your ball and socket, your hands and limbs are freely movable joints, or even your neck is a freely movable joint. So depending upon their function or depending upon their ability to move, the extent to which the bone can move, depending upon this parameter, bones has been classified into three types: immobile joints, slightly movable joints, and the freely movable joints. Then second one is structural classification. Structural classification means very simple. These three, immobile, slightly movable, and freely movable, are made up of different materials, materials. And for example, all immobile joints are made up of fibrous material. So immobile joints can also be stated as a fibrous joints, whereas slightly movable joints are made up of, typically they are made up of cartilaginous joints, whereas freely movable joints are made up of synovial joints. So these are the other names. The structural classification, the other names of movement of bones joints are fibrous joints, cartilaginous joints, and synovial joints. Or simply we can say freely movable joints are always synovial in nature, slightly movable joints are always cartilaginous in nature, whereas immobile joints are usually fibrous in nature. So this is the broad classification of joints. Functional classification and structural classification. Is that clear for everyone?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
Yes,
so synovial joint is an example of. Synovial joint is an example of what? What type of joint is it? Mobile, freely mobile, or immobile?
Movable. Movable.
Okay, freely mobile. Then this one, fibrous joint. Fibrous joint is what type of joint?
Immovable.
Immovable. Very good. Then cartilaginous. Cartilaginous.
Slightly
Slightly movable.
Slightly movable.
Very good, very good. So that's it, students. So classification of joints. So the same definition, whatever I said, it is here. Okay. So joints are something which will connect any two bones or two cartilage substances. Then classification, I have given fibrous joints, cartilaginous joints, and synovial joints. Now let us discuss in detail about fibrous. Okay. So now I will discuss in detail about fibrous. Then I will discuss cartilaginous. Then I will discuss about synovial. So fibrous and cartilaginous is simple, but synovial, I need another lecture for finishing the synovial joints. So before synovial joints, you must know certain terms and planes present in human body. So first let us finish fibrous joints, then we can proceed to the next things. So coming to the fibrous joints, students. So these are the fibrous joints. So fibrous joints, we have three types broadly. So we have three types of fibrous joints. We have sutures, we have gomphosis, and we have syndesmosis. Okay, so we have sutures, we have gomphosis and syndesmosis. So what are sutures, what are gomphosis, and what are syndesmosis? So now we will discuss about fibrous joints in detail. So fibrous joints are also called as immobile joints, or they are also called as fixed joints. They are the joints which are fixed permanently. There won't be any movement in between these fibrous joints. Okay, so such joints are called as immobile or fixed joints. Now these fixed joints are of three types, students. One is sutures. What is the meaning of this suture? Sutures means they are like stitches, students.
So,
When I say sutures, they are like stitches, stitching material. I can say like this, interlocked. So any two my video is on. So in the skull bone, students, any two skull bones are interconnected by these finger-like structures. So at the end of two bones, they will have finger-like projections and they will interlock very tightly. Okay, very strong actually. When I say strong, literally very strong. Okay, so they will interconnect like this, and these kind of structures are called as sutures. Just like the way a surgeon will stitch the broken skin. So such kind of joints are called as sutures. Sutures are extensively present in the skull bones. We have many types of sutures in skull bones. We have sagittal. I have given examples here: plain, squamous, serrate, dentate, and skin dialysis sutures. So sutures are present in the skull bone. So they are one example for fixed joints. Then second type of fixed joints are your joints present in the teeth and jawbone socket. Okay. So it is like a joint inside a joint socket. Okay, joint inside a socket of another joint. So such type of joints are called as gomphosis. So gomphosis is one type, and third one is syndesmosis. So syndesmosis means how can I say syndesmosis? Syndesmosis. I will give you example. Okay, students. In the hand, we have two bones, radius and ulna. Okay, this radius and ulna, they are together joined by some fibrous material. So we have one bone here and one bone here. Okay, I will show you. See here. Okay, so we have two bones in the hand. Okay, these two bones are connected by some fibrous like material, and that fibrous material is called as syndesmosis. It is a fibrous fixed joint. Okay, fixed joint in between two bones of your limbs. Okay, so radius and ulna are together stitched by a fibrous reticular structure called syndesmosis, and such joints are called as syndesmosis joints. So these are the three types of fixed joints we have in our body: fixed or fibrous joints which are present in our body. So one is sutures, which are present in the skull. Then second one is gomphosis, which is present tooth and the jawbone. And third one is syndesmosis, which is a fiber like a mesh network which is present in between two bones of your radius and ulna of your limb bones. So these are the three types of fixed joints we have. Is that clear for you students? Fibrous joints. Sutures,
Yes, sir.
gomphosis and syndesmosis.
Yes.
Yeah. So now let us see basic definition of this fibrous joint. So fibrous joints means these are the in fibrous joints the bones are joined by fibrous tissue. So these joints are immobile. So first one is sutures. Sutures present in the skull. So we have many types of sutures. We have squamous sutures, serrate sutures, plain sutures, and dentate sutures. If you want to know the pictures of this, I can show. I think I have kept images here itself. Okay, students, I will show this one later. Okay, I think I didn't kept the picture here. Simply, students, we have certain sutures in the skull and we have named them. That's it. We have squamous, serrate, plain, and dentate sutures. Okay, so they are the sutures present in the various parts of the skull. That's it. I will show you the picture in tomorrow's lecture. Okay, so now I can't do the editings now. Anyway, so sutures is example one. Then second one is syndesmosis. So syndesmosis means these are the fibrous material which is present in between two ligaments or two bones. Okay, so bones are connected by interosseous ligament. So inferior tibia, fibular joint, and radius ulna are connected by this syndesmosis joints. Okay, then last and final is gomphosis. Gomphosis means tooth inserted in a socket bone of in a socket bone in a socket of the jaw can be stated as a gomphosis. So this is all about the fixed joints. Now I'm moving to the second type of joints, which are cartilaginous or slightly movable joints. These slightly movable joints are two types. These slightly movable or simply the cartilaginous joints are of two types: primary cartilaginous joint and secondary cartilaginous joint. So what is the difference between primary cartilaginous joints and secondary cartilage joints? So primary cartilage joints means they are temporarily they will be in cartilaginous state, but eventually the primary cartilage joints will become a permanent bone. Okay, so primary cartilage joint will be replaced by bones, whereas secondary cartilage joints will be lifelong. They will be in cartilaginous state only. Lifelong they will be in cartilaginous state, which are secondary cartilage joints. So this is the two major types of cartilaginous joints. First one is primary cartilaginous joints and second one is secondary cartilaginous joints. So primary cartilaginous joints are also called as syndrosis. Okay, so spelling is here. So syndrosis is primary cartilaginous joints, whereas secondary cartilaginous joints are called as symphysis. Synchondrosis and other one is symphysis. Synchondrosis means primary, whereas symphysis means secondary. So now let us see where does the primary cartilaginous joints present in our body. So these joints are these bones are joined by a plate of hyaline cartilage. These joints are temporary in nature because after a certain age the cartilaginous bone is replaced by a bone. So the cartilaginous plate will be replaced by a bone. Usually these primary cartilaginous joints present till the developing children. On up to first 1 to 2 years, the children will have this primary cartilage bone joints, and they will be replaced by bones. Okay, so examples are joints between emphysis and diaphysis of growing long bones. So in the children, in the long bone, you have certain structures called emphysis and diaphysis, or simply the top portion and the bottom portion of the long bone, emphysis and diaphysis. So on the both the ends of the long bone, the children will have cartilaginous bone, but that cartilaginous material will eventually becomes bone once they become adult. Okay, so that is one example. So joints between emphysis and diaphysis of a long bone has this primary cartilaginous bone. Okay, so this example is enough for primary cartilage joint. Then second one is secondary cartilaginous joint. So secondary cartilaginous joint is also called as symphysis. So symphysis. So symphysis means secondary cartilaginous joint. So here these joints are permanent in cartilaginous state, so they won't be replaced by normal bone. So these joints occurs in median plane of the body, such as symphysis pubis, manubrium sternal joint, and intervertebral joints. So intervertebral joints, manubrosternal joint and symphysis pubis are made up of the secondary cartilaginous joint. So coming to the examples, I'm telling again. So manubrosternal joint, that means it is the joint which is present in between the manubrium and sternum. So the top portion of in the chest, in the center portion of your chest, you will see a bone called sternum. To the sternum, it has three parts: manubrium. The upper part is called manubrium. Then the bottom part is called sternum, and in the bottom you have the some pointer structure. I think it is a xiphoid process or something. Anyway, so this top portion of the sternum, which is the manubrium, and the second portion, the sternum. So both the manubrium and sternum are connected by this joint. Okay, this is a secondary cartilaginous joint. Then intervertebral joints, that means any two vertebral discs, any two vertebral bones are connected by a cartilaginous joint, permanent cartilaginous joint. Because of that only we have a slightly moving movability of spinal cord, because of presence of this cartilage material in between the vertebral bones. We have that slight movement. Okay, so these are the two examples. One is in between the manubrosternal joint, and second one is in between the vertebral joints. Sorry, in between the vertebral bones, we have the cartilaginous joints. Then the first one is symphysis pubis. Okay, symphysis pubis. I will give example very simply. You know the hip bone. So we have two hip bones, one right hip bone and the left rib bone. These two rib bones in the front is connected with some inward notch like this. Okay, with some inward notch. So here these front two are connected by a cartilaginous joint, and this joint is very essential for women especially. This cartilaginous joint will enhance the hip to move, during pasteurization, during childbirth. During childbirth, the hip will move. It will enhance a slight mobility to the hip for expanding the uterus to expel the baby out, for delivering a baby. So that slight movement is given by this joint, and that joint is called as symphysis pubis, or it is the symphysis joint which is present near the pubic bone. So that is why it is called as symphysis pubis. Symphysis pubis is a slightly movable cartilaginous joint which is present on the anterior portion of the hip bone, which helps in delivery of baby during pasteurization. So these are the three examples of secondary cartilaginous joints. So they include symphysis pubis, manubrosternal joint, and in between intervertebral discs we have the secondary cartilaginous joints. Whereas the primary cartilaginous joints, they are the joints which are in the beginning they are in the cartilaginous state, then eventually they will become a bone. So such type of cartilaginous joints are called as primary cartilaginous joints, and they are present in the long bones of a growing child, in the top and bottom portion of the long bones. The names of that portions are this one. So epiphysis and diaphysis of the long bones. So this is all about the cartilaginous joints. So far we discussed two things. First we discussed about fibrous joints, then we discussed about cartilaginous joints. Then we are moving to the third type of joint, which is synovial joints. Until here, is it clear for you students? Is there any doubt so far?
Sir.
No, right? So just a quick revision. Tell me the three types of fibrous joints. Tell me the three types of fibrous joints. Students. Okay. Tell me the types of joints. Yes, Aman.
Fibrous, cartilaginous, synovial.
Okay, fibrous, cartilaginous, and synovial are the three types of joints. Tell me, depending upon their movability, classify depending upon their
Fibrous is
movability.
movable, cartilaginous is slightly movable, and synovial is really movable.
Superb. Then, what are the types of fibrous joints?
The sutures,
So
Very good.
sutures, gomphosis,
gomphosis,
syndesmosis.
and
Syndesmosis.
syndesmosis.
What
Okay.
joints will present in
Syndesmosis.
between? Yes. What joints will present in between two bones in the hand? Radius and ulna.
So gomphosis.
So
Gomphosis.
No, sir.
Ulna and wo.
Sir, ulnar and radius.
Ulnar radius. What is the joint present in between ulna and radius? Syndesmosis. Okay.
Yes, syndesmosis.
Syndesmosis. Okay.
Syndesmosis.
Syndesmosis. And what is the joints present in the tooth and jaw? Tooth and
Gomphoses.
jaw. Gomphoses. Very good. And what are the joints present in the skull?
Sutures.
Sutures. Can you
Sutures.
name the names of that sutures, students? I know it is tough for you.
So
So those
something from
sutures.
these.
Plain,
Yes.
squamous, serrate, dentate, and
Dentate.
syndesmosis.
Very good. Very good. Squamous, serrate, plain, and dentate. I will show you the picture, students, later. Then you will get some idea. Okay. So squamous, serrate, plain, and dentate sutures. Very good. Then tell me about slightly mobile joints. What are slightly mobile joints? How many types we have?
So primary and secondary.
Very good. There is another names for primary and secondary. Can you tell the other
Primary
names?
synchondrosis
Synchondrosis and symphysis.
and secondary symphysis.
Very good. Very good. Which bone will be replaced by normal bone? Is it
Sir,
primary or secondary?
cartilaginous. Sir, primary, sir.
Yeah, cartilages. Is it primary cartilage or secondary? Replacement will occur.
Primary.
Primary.
Very-
Sir, primary. Sir,
Yes, very
synchondrosis.
Yes, synchondrosis. Give me example for synchondrosis. Example for synchondrosis cartilaginous bone joint.
Sorry.
Sir,
Epiphysis or diaphysis
radius
of long bone.
ulnar.
Yes, epiphysis and diaphysis of a long bone of a growing children
Long.
or small children. Okay, very good, very good. Then give me examples for secondary cartilaginous joints. Secondary cartilaginous joint examples. Where do we will see secondary cartilaginous joints? I have given 3 examples just now.
So symphysis pubis
Symphysis pubis, very good, which is present in the hip bone. Very good. Next.
and sternal joint,
Okay, sternal,
Intervertebral-
manipulosternal joint. Very good.
vertebrate joint,
What joint?
intervertebrate joint.
Vertebrate.
Intervertebral joint. So well done, students. So you are listening classes. Good. So this is all about the fibrous and cartilaginous joints. Now I'm moving forward to the third type of joint. Just a second. Moving to the synovial joints. Just a second. Okay. So the third one is synovial joint, students. So as I said, synovial joints are the freely movable joints. They will have a wide range of movement, wide flexibility is present for synovial joints, and they're also called as synovial joints are also called as ball in a socket joints. Okay, so synovial joints are also called as ball in a socket. Typically, ball in a socket is one type of synovial joint. Similarly, we have many types of synovial joint. So we have plane, hinge, pivotal, bicondylar, ellipsoidal, saddle, and ball and socket joints. So I need to discuss each and everything of these synovial joints actually. So now we are moving forward to the third type of joints, which are synovial joints. Okay. So synovial joints. So they are freely mobile joints, and these are the types of synovial joints. We have plane, hinge, pivotal, bicondylar, ellipsoidal, saddle, and ball and socket joints. So coming to the synovial joints. Okay. So before discussing about the synovial joints, first let us have certain characteristics and properties of synovial joints. Okay. So synovial joints, they are the most mobile joints, i.e. they can that means they can exhibit maximum degree of mobility. And some basic characteristic features of synovial joints include articular surface are covered by hyaline cartilage. So, okay. Listen to me before discussing about synovial joints. First, to keep in mind, students, these are the joints which are these joints will always have hyaline cartilage when at their interjunction. Let me be more precise to you. Are you listening to me, students? Are you
Yes,
following
sir.
me?
Yes, sir.
sir.
So
Yes,
now
sir.
I'm discussing about, now I'm discussing about synovial joints. So whenever I'm saying synovial joint, keep this picture in your mind. Whenever I'm saying synovial, you always remember synovial joint will have two bones. Two bones will connect near synovial joint, and the extremes of these bones will have hyaline cartilage. Always these two bones will have hyaline cartilage on the first, on this bone and this bone. And second point is, after having hyaline cartilage on both the ends of synovial joints, the second one is these bones are covered in, they are covered, okay, they are covered by certain muscles, certain ligaments, okay. So these joints are always covered, they are covered by some capsule, some muscular capsule. Third one, after covering in this capsule, they will always have a fluid. There will be a fluid in between these two joint space. In between the space, it will contain a fluid, and that fluid is called as synovial fluid. Presence of this synovial fluid is the interesting or unique feature of synovial joints. It is like having some oil in the joints. So what is the purpose of oil? Oil will give more mobility. So if your machineries like wheels, if they are not moving freely, means you will keep some oil. By keeping some oil, what will happen? The wheel will move freely. Similarly, in these two joints, we have a oil like lubricant substance called synovial fluid, and that synovial fluid will enhance greater mobility, even more free mobility by these bones. So presence of these three features is unique characteristic feature for synovial joints. One is synovial joints will have hyaline cartilage at their articular surface. Articular means connecting surface. Second one, they are always enclosed in a capsule. And third one, they will be always this synovial fluid in the joints. Now, in some conditions, this synovial fluid will be diminished. Some patients won't have the fluid inside these bones. If they don't have that fluid, the bones will meet each other. When they meet each other, they will start
Degrading, sir.
rubbing each other.
Due to
Okay,
friction.
they will,
Yes, sir.
yes, there will be a lot of friction in between these bones. If there is more friction, what will happen? The hyaline cartilage will be turned away, teared away. Hyaline cartilage will be broken. If the hyaline cartilage broken, means what will happen? Naked bone will touch each other, and you just imagine the pain. Your two bones are touching each other, and a pointy bones are touching each other, and you can't move. First of all, your movement is lost. Second one, both the bones weight is falling on each other. So patient will have a very pain, okay, a severe pain to the patients. And also, if we are not rectifying this issue, what will happen? There will be damage. Internal bleeding will happen. Internal tissue damage can happen. Because of the damage, bacteria will start growing there. If that happens, you will have a sepsis, and we need to amputate the bone. We need to remove the leg. So that is why we need to be cautious regarding the synovial joints. So synovial joints are more prone to joint disorders actually. Okay, and that can be occurred because of certain autoimmune disorders, because of certain metabolic disorders, lifestyle problems, or even genetic problems can result in problems of this synovial joint disorders. Okay, actually we are studying this anatomy for the reason of understanding the diseases, because in the lab we will get a synovial fluid, and we must know why we collected this fluid, why we are doing test on this fluid. In order to understand that, you should know the basic anatomy. That is why we are studying. But always keep in mind, always whatever knowledge we are studying in this anatomy, we are trying to correlate this knowledge with lab tests. Okay, so that is why we are studying this too. So that is more important than the actual anatomy for us. Actually, we need to know the clinical conditions of all these normal terms, or all this normal physiology. So there is one type of arthritis called arthritis. Okay, arthritis means arthro, joint. Okay, itis means inflammation, joint inflammation. So this synovial joint inflammation is one of the most common disease seen in the patients. Okay, arthritis. Itis means inflammation. Arthro means joint. So joint inflammation. We have one type of joint inflammation which is called rheumatoid arthritis. So in case of rheumatoid arthritis, what will happen? Our body will generate its own antibodies. It will generate auto antibodies towards the hyaline cartilage of these bones, and these hyaline cartilage will be destroyed by our own antibodies, and that results in a condition called rheumatoid arthritis, a inflammatory joint disorder called rheumatoid arthritis. And second one is gouty arthritis. Gouty arthritis means uric acid crystals. Because of improper metabolic pathway of uric acid or nucleic acid metabolism, these uric acid crystals will be uh, accumulated in these synovial joints. So synovial fluid will be replaced by salt, crystals, uric acid crystals. If that happen, patient cannot move the bone at all, and such condition is called as gouty arthritis. In these two conditions, what we will do is we will collect a sample of synovial fluid and we will go for lab diagnosis, screening in the lab. We will see whether the joint has any crystals. If the joint has uric crystals, means that indicates the patient has gouty arthritis. If the joint does not have any synovial fluid, means that indicates he has some other problem. If it has red blood cells, it indicates internal bleeding. If it has globulins, that indicates he has some autoimmune disorder. If it has more so depending upon the markers and substances present in the synovial fluid, we can understand the type of problem that the patient has. So all these things can be understood by studying the synovial joints. So first you should know some basic idea about synovial joints. Okay, so that is why we are studying. So this is the basic things that the same thing has been included in this clinical features. So as I stated, the synovial joints are kept in a capsule. So that capsule is called a synovial membrane. So the internal membrane of this capsule is called synovial membrane, whereas the outside membrane is called a serous membrane. Not only having these membranes, these joints will also have ligaments to connect these two bones. So these two bones are connected by ligaments also. So there are many ligaments which are present in between the synovial joint in order to stabilize the joint, to keep the joint in its right place. So it's a combination of ligaments, muscles, synovial fluid, hyaline cartilage, and membrane, synovial membrane. So all these five together will make a complicated mobile joint called synovial joint. Now we have 7 types of synovial joints in our body. Now let us discuss about the 7 types of joints, synovial joints in our body. Are you listening to me, students? Is the lecture too much depth today?
No, sir, we are listening.
Okay, fine. So let us know only the names of these synovial joints, and in tomorrow's lecture I will discuss, okay, about individual features and the movement shown by the body. Okay, so first we have plane joints, then we have hinge joints, pivotal joints, condylar joints, ellipsoidal joints, saddle joints, and ball and socket joints. So we have plane joints, hinge, pivotal, condylar, ellipsoidal, and saddle and ball and socket joint. So what is this plane joints? So plane joint means that the joint, these are the plane synovial joints which the articular surfaces, the connecting surfaces are flat. The connecting surfaces are flat. Such type of joints are called as plane joints. Is it possible to have such flat surface joints in our body? Where in the world we have such flat joints? Do you have any idea, students? Where we can have this
plane joint?
Yeah.
Plates, no sir, plates.
Tears?
No sir, no sir.
Okay, I will tell you. Do you know the bones present in the wrist? Okay, I will tell you some really interesting thing. In the wrist, we have bones, students. So when I'm moving my wrist like this, there are joints, there are bones in this wrist. Can you guess how many bones present in this wrist? Do you have any idea?
16, sir.
26.
16.
76, not too much. Not
16 or something, sir.
16, Aman. Okay,
Yes,
agreeing with you, it is 16, but I need precise. It is 16 of both the hands or single hand?
It's a single hand 16, sir.
No, it's a wrong. Okay,
Wrong.
each
But yes, I
wrist
have
will have
studied in
8.
12, 11, sir. 16 bones.
You have you studied human anatomy? Okay.
No, sir. In
Uh,
11th, that is last chapter. No, sir. Joints. So
okay.
bones and
Okay. So in the wrist we will have eight bones actually. Those bones are called as carpal bones. We have 8 carpal bones in one wrist and 8 carpal bones in second wrist. Totally we have 16. Okay.
sir. What
Totally
about
we have
metacarpal?
16 bones. Not
Sir,
in a
carpals
single
and
hand.
metacarpals, no, sir.
Carpals. Okay.
Sir,
So carpals and metacarpals. Okay.
yes, sir.
Wrist bones are called carpals. Metacarpals means these things. Okay.
Okay.
So actually I may
और फिर
discussed
tarsals भी होता है ना, tarsals भी.
okay, listen to me first. So the wrist bones are called carpal bones. Okay. Here we have 8 carpal bones in each wrist. We have 8 carpal bones. She looks too pretty. Try to catch her. She scaphoid looks lunate, trapezium, pisiform, trizamin. Okay, there are 8 bones. Okay, 8 carpal bones. So 8 has 8 names actually. So all those 8 carpal bones are interconnected by flat joints, flat synovial joints. Okay, so we have 8 carpal bones in this wrist and 8 carpal bones in the second wrist. Together we have 16 carpal bones. The bones that are present in the wrist are called as carpals, and the bones that are present in the ankle of the foot, those are called as tarsals. Carpals in the hand, whereas tarsals in the legs. Foot to be precise. Yeah, foot. Tarsals in the foot, whereas carpals in the hand. And these carpal joints are flat joints. Flat joints. Okay. So sorry, plane joints. They're plane joints or they're flat in nature. So this is all about the carpals. Okay. Then someone asking about metacarpals, carpals and metacarpals. Metacarpals means, students, from each carpal we will get a bone, 5 bones here. Okay, I think four only. Okay, the this one also. Okay, 5. Actually, I need to revise. I was not aware of this correctly. Anyway, so these bones are called metacarpals. The bones that are arising from carpal bones. Okay, the bones that are arising from carpal bones are called as metacarpals. These are metacarpals. Then they are connected to the fingers. Okay, so similarly in the foot also we have metatarsals. From the tarsal bones, they are extended towards the front. Okay, so they are called metatarsals. And these carpals and tarsal bones are plane joints. They are plane joints. So this is one example. Plane joints are one example for synovial joints. Then second one is hinge joints. As the name suggests, hinge. Can anyone guess what is the meaning of hinge, students? Hinge means pulley like a thing. Pulley means, how can I say to you?
Police are that.
I think I can show you one example. Aha, I kept here, students. Yeah, these are carpal bones. See, these carpal bones are plane joints. Okay, so these are called carpals. So here we will see plane joints. Then hinge joint. This is the best example of hinge. Hinge means like your door, students. The way you will your door will move. So door is attached to the wall and it will move like this, right? So hinge, door is connected to the wall by a hinge, and that type of joints are called hinge joints. So they will have this kind of movement. Okay, like the way you will open your door. So such joints are called as hinge joints. So yeah, so this is the hinge joint, and one example for hinge joint is in between ulna and humerus. In between ulna and humerus, we will see hinge joint. Okay, this is a hinge joint, example of hinge joint. So let me see other examples of hinge joint here. So hinge joint are present in between in the elbow, ankle, and interphalangeal joints. So in interphalangeal, ankle, and elbow, we will see these hinge joints. Or these are the joints here, students. The way I'm moving my hand like this. So this movement is here. I have a joint called hinge joint. So this hinge joint, because of this hinge joint only, I can able to move my hand like this. So that is the example of hinge joint. Then third one is pivotal joint. So pivotal joint means central bony. How can I give pivotal joint to you? Have a central bony pivot. Um, Pivotal joint. Uh,
So pivot is means is a common point now where it is joining. It will help to move.
Yes, correct. Yes, it will have a common point. I was trying to tell you it even more simplest form. How can I say? Just a second. Hello? నేను వచ్చేస్తున్నా 5 minutes వస్తా క్లాస్ అయిపోతుంది. నీ దగ్గర ఉంది, నువ్వే తీసుకున్నావు. సరే తీసుకుని వస్తాను నేను 5 minutes వస్తాను. ఓకే 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 సరే బై 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 5 minutes. Sorry students, actually I was thinking, I was in another thinking. Anyway, leave it. Pivotal joint, right? So pivotal joint means, keep in mind students, it is like this joint is present in a ring. Actually I'm not getting how to explain this joint to you. So here you can see here, see it will slide here, but I cannot say this is a sliding joint, but okay, it will have 360-degree movement, students. It will have a rotatory movement for pivotal joint. Okay, it will have a common axis point, as our Aman said. So it can have that rotatory movement for pivotal joint. And the best example for this pivotal joint is this one. So in the beginning I have discussed with you. So see here, I'm holding my hand in the bottom like this, and I can rotate my hand like this. Even though my bottom portion is not moving, but my top portion of the hand is moving, right? So this movement is enhanced by that pivotal joint. So at this portion, in the bottom portion or near my elbow, one bone is sliding on the second bone. So it is rotating in a clockwise direction like this. So one of my ulna bone is sliding on the second radius bone. So the radius bone is sliding on my ulna. Because of that, I have this rotation movement. So this rotation movement is given by this pivotal joint actually. Tomorrow what I will do is I will keep animation videos for each and every joint, then you will get some idea. Okay, I think
A pedal, sir, cycle. It's a pedal of a cycle, sir.
yes, pedal of a cycle like that. Yes, similar like the pedal which is connected to the cycle pedal. So similar movement is exhibited by the pivotal joint. Okay, tomorrow I will keep video and short animations, then you will get exact idea of these joints. Okay, you just remember the names. So far we have discussed about 3 synovial joints. So we discussed about plane joint, then we discussed about hinge joint, and we discussed about pivotal joint. So other 3 joints include, we have condylar joint, ellipsoidal, saddle, and ball and socket, that we will discuss tomorrow. Okay, so this is all about today's lecture. So let me do a quick revision of today's lecture and we can move. So first we discussed about the structure of muscle. This we already finished. Then we discussed about the joints. So the study of joints is called as arthrology. Then we discussed about the classification of joints. So depending upon their mobility, they are called 3 types: immobile, slightly mobile, or freely mobile, or simply immobile are the fibrous joints, slightly mobile are the cartilaginous joints, whereas the synovial are the freely mobile joints. Fibrous joints we have 3 types: sutures, we have the syndesmosis, and we have the this one. Gomphosis is a tooth. Syndesmosis is in between the radius and ulna, whereas the fibrous joints we have these are the joints that are present inside the skull. We have squamous sutures, serrated sutures, plane, and dentate sutures. Then we discuss about the cartilaginous joints. Cartilaginous joints are of 2 types. They are also called as slightly movable joints. We have primary cartilaginous joints and the secondary cartilaginous joints. Primary cartilaginous joints are also called as synchondrosis, whereas the secondary are called as symphysis. Synchondrosis are seen in the top and bottom portion of the long bone, the epiphysis and diaphysis of the long bone, and the secondary cartilaginous bones are seen in between the mandibulosternal joints, intervertebral joints, and the symphysis pubis of the hip. These are the examples of secondary cartilaginous joint. Then we discussed about the synovial joint. We discussed about the common characteristic features of the synovial joints, and we discussed about the 3 synovial joints. We discussed plane joints, pivotal joints, and hinge joints. So this is what we covered in today's lecture. So thank you very much, students. Let me download your attendance. Topic is clear for everyone. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, students. See you. I hope you are writing notes. Okay, please write notes when you are taking lecture. Okay, see you.
Yes, sir.